These 40 Minecraft items show off insane weaknesses, like a way to break beacons, a way to cancel spyglasses, and a way for tridents to ruin your day. Get hyped. Also, scroll down and subscribe. Thank you. Totems of Undying are super useful, but what's their weakness? Well, they only work, of course, if you actually hold the totem in either hand. So if you have to fumble around your inventory to grab it while falling to your doom, then I hate to break it to you, but I don't fancy your chances. Of course, you could instead land in something that breaks your fall, like cobwebs, but their weakness is, of course, the sword. Any sword. You can just chop right through them and access whatever it is you're trying to access very easily. I mean, I don't know why you'd want to go towards the spawner, but I'm not judging. Of course, you specifically need a sword for cobwebs, but actually, glass's biggest weakness is quite a few different things. Actually, everything except Silk Touch. TNT just ruins the glass, and of course you can use a tool to clean it out easily. Shock horror, glass is weak. I know, your life is a lie now. Moss blocks aren't as weak as glass, but they're actually weaker if you know how to properly break them. This? No. This? Definitely not. But it should be. You can actually use a hoe to tear through the moss at lightning speed, insta-breaking the moss in the most satisfying thing Minecraft has done since they added sponges into the game. Speaking of water, Torch's biggest weakness is water, which, I won't lie, isn't the only time we encounter it on the list. It's just so good at breaking stuff, like the only light I've got. Ah! What was that? No! Torches hate water, but how can torches get payback? That's right, ice's biggest weakness is torches, which helps to defrost the ice. Unsurprisingly though, when the torch melts the ice eventually, it ends up kamikazing itself, so it's kind of a win for torches, but it's also a bit of a tragic tale. Speaking of lights going out, beacons can be nerfed by endermen, who, if you're not careful, can place blocks on top of the beacon and prevent the beam from reaching the sky, negating the effects of the beacon itself. There's always someone that has to ruin my fun, isn't there? Like how I get excited to use my elytra, so I go into my ender chest and I left my shulker box somewhere. So I spend ages looking for it until I finally find it. That's right, shulker box's weakness is that they're so damn easy to leave lying around carelessly that when I need them, they're not there. Turtle eggs are very precious and need to be truly taken care of. So obviously their weakness is when these guys jump on them like it's a damn trampoline park and ruin them all. Literal genocide. I think they should be cancelled, to be honest. These items all have several things in common, but one of those things is that they all share one huge weakness. Water. If water makes contact with any of these items, just like the torches, they get swept away. Maybe water is the real villain after all. Piston's biggest weakness isn't water though. It's actually specifically 13 blocks. Any 13 blocks. Because it's only able to push a maximum of 12 blocks. So if there's 13 blocks ahead of it, it just doesn't move. Not particularly impressive and very underwhelming. Slime blocks are very useful for many different reasons, but what's their downfall? It's actually crouching, because when you fall on slime blocks from a height while crouched, you will just take fall damage as usual, which is a really dumb mechanic, and I think I hate Mojang for it, just a little bit though. TNT seems like an item with no weaknesses, but it is thoroughly defeated by 3 blocks: obsidian, bedrock, and command blocks. The amount of TNT it takes to destroy all 3 of these blocks is staggeringly high. I'm not even going to bother doing the maths. TNT gets bullied by these 3 blocks so bad that I'm getting flashbacks from high school. On the topic of me going through pain, Note Block's biggest weakness is people like me who have the musical ability of a wet towel. Basically, anything I try to do with Note Blocks ends up sounding like... Yeah, now you see what I mean. People just get in the way sometimes. Like when you're taking a minecart as you do, and then all of a sudden you see... Nani? Oh no. So minecarts have an obvious weakness. But what about elytras? This has happened more than I would like to admit, to be honest. Elytra's weakness is its durability. So when it breaks... Yeah. So maybe not an elytra then? At least that means you can wear a full set of armor now, right? Oh no, don't ruin armor for me. Armor's biggest weakness is fire, because as soon as it makes contact with it, it takes an awful lot more damage than it usually does, and breaks far easier. So if your armor is low and you end up like this somehow, strip on the spot. I'm not even joking. Even though you'll take far more damage, you can eat a golden apple and you'll be fine. In the fire at least. But golden apples don't give you god mode in Minecraft. Oh no. If you send it off a massive platform onto the ground, you won't survive. Golden apple or not. Of course, if you land in water, you'll be absolutely fine, no matter how shallow it is. But its weakness isn't a player, or an object really, or even a biome. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a whole ass dimension. Water hates the nether, and this happens when you try to place it. Of course, you can use mods or glitches to place the water somehow, like Worst Client or something, but not Optifine. It's far too basic. But it is one item's weakness, which is the spyglass, because well, you can zoom in on Optifine using whatever button you want, and completely remove the need for the spyglass. Very nice. Beds are supposed to explode in the nether in the end, but you can circumvent this well and truly with villagers. That's right, they can completely avoid this by doing this. Yeah, they're magic. There's no other explanation. Shears are really useful, but they are annihilated by leaves. They do the job very well, of course, but it breaks them really quickly. Absolute destruction. Rotten flesh is basically useless other than to fill your inventory with clutter and be annoying. So how can it actually be useful? Well, villager trading, of course. You can get rid of rotten flesh with villager trading, making it useful against its will. Very nice. On the topic of villager trading, Ender Pearl's biggest weakness is, well, end islands. Because it can be risky throwing them around. Because, man, what if you, like, fall? Yeah, Ender Pearl's weakness is the end dimension. But what about something less tangible? Potion effects have their weaknesses, so here we go. The Potion of Invisibility's biggest weakness is particles. So you're never really truly invisible unless the people looking for you have particles turned off. Speed Potion's biggest weakness is running into trouble without realizing you're about to die. Like when you're going so fast that you send it off a cliff without realizing. Strength's weakness is, well, accidentally doing this. No! Slow falling is bad for when you're trying to access your hidden base under lava. Pretty niche, I know, but it's true. Okay, moving on. Eyes of Ender's biggest weakness is when something a little bit like this happens. Heartbreaking. Why can I throw it now? I'm in the damn stronghold. Okay, I'm done. Mob spawning eggs are combated by peaceful mode. At least hostile mobs anyway. Passive mobs are undefeatable, unfortunately, but hostile mobs are destroyed GG easy ratioed by peaceful mode. However, you can kill fish using Frostwalker, if you wanted to, of course. But Frostwalker isn't exactly an ideal enchantment, because it can destroy redstone contraptions which have water in them, like transport modules. Yeah, it can ruin your day, no doubt. So don't bother with Frostwalker, but knockback can actually be useful, right? Well, not if you're fighting a skeleton. If you knock back a skeleton, it's only going to help them kill you by bowing you down. So don't fight a skeleton with knockback, please and thank you. But on the other hand, don't be an idiot and fight a zombie with fire aspect. If you do this, you'll set the zombie on fire, which will then hit you and set you on fire. So please don't be a schmuck and just use sharpness 5, unbreaking 3, looting 3. Oh, and actually, one sec. Looting is great and all until you end up with stacks and stacks of items that you didn't want in the first place. So it's a real pain to have to deal with. Granted, there are ways of putting them to use, but guys, can you be bothered spending ages bone mealing the grass? Exactly, no fun. Coarse fruit, however, has one glaring weakness. The fact that most of the time it's eaten in the end and could end up flinging you off the end island. So use it at your own risk. Shields are all well and good, but I need to confess to you guys, when it first released, I spent a week dying over and over because I thought the shield was working just because I was holding it, so I didn't block with it for ages. Yeah, I know, you can laugh at me, but I'm counting my stupidity as a weakness of the shield, thank you very much. Tridents are really useful for a multitude of reasons, but what is their biggest weakness? Well, if you don't have loyalty, you have to pick up the trident every time, which is a big problem if you're fighting mobs like creepers, because, well, if you have to go pick up your trident, this could happen. Not fun. On the topic of mobs ruining your day, dogs and players are the weakness of seeds, which will get trampled if anything stands on them. For obvious reasons, this is a problem, but it is the funniest and most petty way to mess with your friends on an SMP. Gets me every time. It's so funny. The next two are very general, but they all share one weakness. First up is weapons and tools, such as axes and shovels, whose biggest weakness has to be the fact that they can break. Of course, there are ways of combating this now, but I remember playing Minecraft without mending, and it was torture having to constantly make new tools. I used to mine with stone pickaxes so I didn't waste my iron or diamonds. It was genuinely that bad. But these items have another weakness, as well as every single other item that I've mentioned so far in this video. Do you know what it is? It's lava, of course. Every item in the entirety of Minecraft burns in lava, apart from anything made of netherite. There's always one which has to spoil it. Speaking of which, check out this comparison between Minecraft then and now. I wonder which is better. Okay, thanks for watching. Subscribe!